Hey, what's going on, guys? So today I'm going to be working on making the feet for my shelf. So I'm making these feet because I didn't quite measure things properly, and I ended up making a boo-boo. Basically, I made the shelf a little too short. It's about 1.1 inches short of where I need it to be, so I'm basically going to have to make some extensions. Basically going to be making some feet out of my square tubing that I can bolt some adjustable feet to so that I can get it to the proper height. So I picked up a couple packs of these adjustable feet from Amazon. So they're the perfect size. So they're basically 1 inch in diameter. So it's not going to protrude past my 1.25 inch tubing that I have. The thread size is a 1/4 inch by 20, and they come with these little T-nuts that I'm not going to use. But yeah, so these will fit pretty well on my feet extensions that I plan to make. Basically going to take some flat bar. I'm going to cut out 15/16 inch pieces of this. I'm going to cut out 4 of them, and I'm going to weld some flat bar to there. I'm obviously going to have to drill a hole through the flat bar and weld in a nut and all that before I weld it to this piece. So let's get to it. Each of the feet are going to be 15/16 of an inch to account for the 1/16 inch flat bar that I plan to weld on the bottoms. As usual, preparation is key. Here I'm using my die grinder to prep both ends of each tube, since both ends will have to be welded. I'm now measuring out 1.25 inch pieces of 1/16 inch flat bar. I plan to drill holes in these, followed by welding up some 1/4 inch 20 nuts used to thread my adjustable feet. Kind of dumb, so I found this incredibly difficult. My goal was to get all of these marked out at once so that I could drill all of the holes and then cut them all out rather than doing one at a time. What made things difficult was trying to get everything exact while also accounting for the thickness of my bandsaw blade. I found it easiest to just space out my holes and then mark 5/8 of an inch to the right and the left of each hole. I punched my markings for my holes and took the piece over to the drill press. Using a 5/16 inch drill bit, I'm making the holes slightly larger than the 1/4 inch threaded rod on my adjustable feet, just in case I'm unable to get the nuts perfectly centered on the flat bar. I secure the nut to the flat bar by threading it onto a bolt. Since the shelves will be somewhat heavy, I'm actually welding on 2 nuts to ensure there are plenty of threads for the adjustable feet to screw into. Once it is centered as well as I can get, I'm able to tack it down. After a few tacks and some cleanup, I can remove the bolt and move on to the next one. I throw on a few welds on the previous nuts as I go around to try and keep things from getting too hot. I don't necessarily show it, but in between every weld, I take a wire brush to the area I'm welding to make sure everything is nice and clean. Definitely not my best work, but she'll do. With all the welds in place, I give everything one more good cleaning before bringing it over to the bandsaw. Once everything is cut out, I go ahead and prep the flat bar pieces and get them ready for welding to the 15/16 inch pieces of tubing that I cut out earlier. With everything prepped, we can now start tacking everything into place. Seems like a perfect fit. I start off by getting the flat bar tacked onto the pieces of tubing. I then clean off the parts for final welding. I use a C-clamp and an offcut of tubing to secure my workpieces. I then weld one side at a time, switching to the next piece to allow for cooling until all sides are welded up. I want these feet to be completely smooth, so I use an angle grinder to grind down the bulk of the welds, followed up with my die grinder to get the last bit of material flattened out until it's one smooth piece. So I've got the feet all done. Made some little cubes, little cuties. You can see here. So those should work nicely. So yeah, I just gotta weld these bad boys onto the rest of the shelf and we should be good. So that's it for today, guys. Thanks for watching. Peace.